Let's go ahead and get this bad boy started. Appreciate you guys showing up and being here during the holiday. I know that it gets to the point where you sit around enough and you're doing honeydew stuff, and where you want to get out and be able to talk a little ball tonight. And that's kind of the whole objective tonight, is to kind of just talk about the philosophy and talk about what others are doing and stuff like that. And so, I just appreciate you guys jumping in. My name is John Bronkhorst. I'm the athletic director and head football coach at New Braunfels Christian Academy in New Braunfels, Texas. Big fan of this power spread RPO offense. For those of you who've never heard or don't know much about me, this is something that just kind of started evolving for me about 5-6 years ago. I just continue to grow with this philosophy as we go. This year took over a program that was transitioning out of 6-man football into 11-man football. If any of you have never seen 6-man football, it's really an offensive coach's best dream, because it's all offense. It's terrible on defense. It's like watching arena football. But it's not unusual to score 60-70 points in a game. But one of the things that you just don't have are a bunch of linemen. And so this year we made that move program wide. I made that move out of 6-man into 11-man. So it was a unique challenge to get that thing going. And so there were a lot of things that I'm not overly thrilled with the job that I did this year. There are some things that obviously we're making changes and we're evaluating things through. But one of the things that did come out of this year was, just evaluating how we can grow and expand this power spread RPO offensive system. Is the way I call it, is as a system. It's like, it's like the wing tee, the slot tee. It's like air raid. It's a philosophy. It's a philosophy that really started its grassroots, or its roots started with Gus Malzahn, and it's grown. And I think the RPO aspect of things has really exploded with the likes of Brent Dearman and Matt Driscoll, who's now at Army. He's co-OC down at Army. Both of those guys were NAIA coaches who are now, they're now Division I coaches. You got Coach Dearman, who just took University of North Alabama, and that sort of thing. So the whole purpose again tonight is just to talk ball, talk about the power spread RPO, kind of some of the things that what we're doing, what each of us are doing, and that sort of thing. So I guess before I get into any sort of notes, presentation, anybody have any questions, comments, things like that as we move on? Like I said, this is just kind of a round table. Let's potpourri of things, and let's rock and roll tonight. You can, if you can unmute anytime and ask away. Ask to the group, that sort of thing. So. All right. Well, if you guys don't have any questions or anything like that, I'm going to go ahead and kind of show you a presentation that I did this past summer here in Texas. So it's a power spread RPO talk that I did this past summer for TAPS, which is the Private School Coaching Association here down in Texas. And basically just talked about the base, the base philosophy of what I do and that sort of thing. So as I said, my name is John Bronkhorst. I'm the athletic director, head football coach here at New Braunfels Christian Academy in New Braunfels, Texas. I'm in my 26th year as being a coach and in this profession. 15 years in private Christian education, 9 years in public school, 1 year at the collegiate level, and 4 seasons at the professional level. And I always caveat that professional level. I've spent time in the Arena League, and that sort of thing. So, but I do have that experience. Philosophically, I'd categorize myself as a power spread RPO philosophy. We play at a tempo pace. We do like a balanced attack, getting our playmakers the ball. That's what I mean by balanced attack, not necessarily 60-40 run to pass, balanced attack of getting our playmakers the ball. We'd want to stretch the field vertically and horizontally. And then we do like to take 8 to 10 shots per game. And as I go through this evening, I'll show you a call sheet that I have, and I have a shot chart on it where we, when we reach a certain point on the field, we're looking to take shots at that point. So we do like to throw the book at our opponent, motions, window dressing, etc. So developing RPOs. This in this right here, this building the core run game is actually even going to change more this year. We've trimmed a number of things down. Our inside zone, our core run game is inside zone, split zone, which is one and the same. We're not going to be running as much outside zone this coming season. We're going to be going back to the bread and butter of buck sweep. We'll run power and counter H. We won't run so much zone insert as well. And so we'll be a inside zone, buck, power, and counter team next year. I've got an H-back tight end type kid who can be flexed out into the slot. He's a kid that is a borderline FCS, FBS type kid. And I've got a quarterback who's probably Division II to FCS kid. So we've got some things working in our favor. The biggest thing is that we're pretty weak up front because, again, these kids have never had to play 11-man football before. So we're kind of working behind the 8 ball in that regard. Building the RPO package. If you guys have ever heard a Brent Dearman talk, this is nothing new. This is exactly out of his script, out of his book, and it's something that I believe dear when we're building our RPO package. We ask these questions anytime we start building our offense. We're building everything. It's can we stay within our current run system? Probably the number one play that we do not RPO out of is buck sweep. Just don't like it. And so that'll be the one play that we don't RPO out of. Now we will bootleg out of it. We'll play action out of it, but we will not RPO out of it. The next question we have to ask is, where is the quarterback protected? Our third question we ask is, what hurts the run play? So if we're running power, or if we're running a counter H RPO, where are we hurt? What hurts the run play? Is it a run through blitzer from the will backer? How does that hurt us, etc. Then we ask, who is the conflict player and how can we affect him with the pass? As Coach Dearman has said before, and a number of us who follow him appeal to this and apply this, is that D gap run fitter, that alley defender, he cannot serve two masters. He cannot be a run defender and he cannot be a pass defender. So we have to put him in conflict, and how can we affect him with that? And then our fifth question we ask is, what are our answers for blitz and odd front or bear front, and then man coverage? So teaching the RPO installation, our quarterback, it starts with our quarterback. And the number one thing is that he gets the entire picture. He's the one player that this is a quarterback centered offense. It's fun if you're a quarterback, but it also is very stressful because you have to know what everybody's job is, and you get the entire picture. Our O-line, one of the things that our O-line coaches, we stress to them is that I want them focusing on the run game. We're going to focus on staying on double teams until linebackers show. But also one of the things that we have kind of veered away from, on this quote, we said, we don't attack linebackers that don't attack us. We've kind of gotten away from that a little bit in regards to, we do still focus on staying on double teams, but we also don't want to pacify our O-line. And we tell them, listen, you control the double team and get up to backer. You do your job. If we 1% of chance get a legal man downfield, we'll just have to deal with it. But what I don't want to do is I don't want to pacify our O line. So we try to limit the information for them and tell them, listen, if it's inside zone, if it's power, if it's counter, go do your job, and don't hesitate and don't think. Our H-back is run game. We used to talk about run game only. We are doing a lot more with our H-back. We're not getting in so much of a sniffer set anymore. We're more wing to tight end, true tight end look, a little bit more 11 personnel look than we are what some would deem 20 personnel. We'll get in a sniffer look every once in a while, but mostly we're now in a wing or tight end, a true tight end look. But we're still heavy focused on the run game with our H-back during the RPOs. We don't throw to our we don't throw much to our H-back in the RPO game unless we specifically tag something. If we get into a tray set and we get and we run a kind of a behind the line of scrimmage screen to the H-back type thing, we'll do that. Our running backs focus on the run game again with inside the RPOs. We want them focusing on running power, running counter H, running buck, running inside zone, no hesitation. They assume they get the ball every single down, and that's the biggest thing is that they just got to they've got to understand that their job is to run the football and not worry about the pass. Our receivers, like our quarterback, have to know a little bit more because they have to understand what the run play is. Because inside zone, we're opening opposite of the call. So they have to understand how that works. We're a color call with our snap counts, in the old Gus Malzahn way of things. We're looking to change it up a little bit more and add to it. But our receivers are working mostly with quick game, screen game, plus our gift routes. And we do run gift routes every play, every run play. If it's a straight up run, if it's an RPO, our backside away from the run play, we do run gift routes because if they're gonna get tight to the run fit, we're gonna throw a slant, a stop route, or a vertical based off of looks. We do focus primarily on D-gap run fitters. We want to put him in conflict. Like I said, he cannot serve two masters, the run and the pass. He must make a decision. And then also one of the key components to our RPO installation is our RPO drill. We spend 5 minutes every day working this drill. And what that is basically we're running a rotation of quarterbacks. We'll have we do everything off the boundary. And so we'll have boundary or everything off the hash mark. We'll run boundary RPOs. We'll run field RPOs, that sort of thing. So as I talked, we have pre-snap gifts away from the play call, post-snap RPOs to the play call. If we have somebody, if you guys can mute yourself unless you have a question, I appreciate it. We will never ask our quarterbacks to post-snap RPO away from the play call. So basically what that means is that I'm not going to ask my quarterback to turn his back away from the side that we're running the RPO. I just don't believe in that. A lot of coaches do, and I'm not saying that they're wrong. It's just something we're not going to ask our quarterbacks to do because he just doesn't have eyes in the back of his head. So we're not going to look at it and have him put him in that position. Does anybody have any questions on this early part of the presentation? All right.
Hey, Coach, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So you said you don't call or you don't have them turn your back. Do you ever do same side RPO?
Yeah, so
I mean,
all of our RPOs are same side. So basically, like for example, if we're running power to the right, we're going to open up to the right, and we're running our RPO to that side. We're based out of the pistol, and we do that because it keeps defenses from knowing which side we're going to RPO, which side we're forced to open to. And so, yeah, we every RPO that we run, we're running it to the side we're opening to. Does that make sense?
Yeah, Coach.
Okay.
Coach, I've got one on your gift concepts.
Yeah.
What is it that determines, I mean, I think a lot of people are going to run, or, they're going to throw the free access throws, but
Yeah.
we always get stuck into, all right, is it a quarterback decision, whether he's going to throw the slant, whether he's going to throw a hitch, a speed out, or a vertical? Do you have your quarterbacks determine that? Do you do it based off of alignment of the ball on the field? I mean, how does that, is it something that you guys are working throughout the week game plan? Talk me through that real quick.
Yeah, no, that's
honestly,
that's a great question. For us, really, it's year to year based off of who I have at quarterback.
Okay.
If I've got a really smart, heady quarterback who understands the game and understands the idea of what RPOs are and what free access throws, gift wrap, that sort of thing, I will give him the ability to make that call. Now, we go into each season not with that. Okay, so what we do is we go into every season with these three single receiver. For example, I'm going to start with single receiver routes. We'll either throw the vertical, the 5-yard stop route, or the slant route. Okay. And then we'll go into each week game planning what we're gonna open up with. So if we know that we're gonna get into the boundary single receiver, we're gonna get a roll down with the rover, and so that means that the corner is gonna play off into the boundary. Well, we're gonna run most likely we're gonna run a slant, kind of an expanded slant, a glance route there. If we're gonna get a too high safety look, and we're going to get a cover 2 look, we're probably going to run a whole shot vertical there. And so we just kind of go into each week kind of with a predetermined thought of how we're going to attack it. And then we'll make the adjustments in game. Like I said, if I have a heady quarterback who understands, he will have hand signals. We have hand signals that the quarterback will give to the single receiver, single side receiver, and on what he wants him to run. And so that's how we do that. To our 2 receiver side, it's really easy. If the 2 receiver side is going to be our pre-snap gift type, we're running what I call a crawfish bubble screen. It's a key 2 screen, and that's what we do there. We have done it to where we've kind of expanded that a little bit to where we'll either run that key 2 screen, or we run a variation of the key 2 screen we'll run a key 2 with the slot receiver, and then we'll run a slant with the outside receiver. And so we go with that, and again, we'll go into each week with that determination and which is going to be the primary for that week. We'll make the adjustments in game, and then we also have our signals that we give our quarterbacks to the 2 receiver side. Does that answer your question?
Yep. Thanks, Coach.
Yeah, absolutely. Anybody else before we move forward?
Yeah, Coach. Just wondering, why is it you don't like backside RPOs? Sometimes they come into the fit a bit later, like especially to the field. Like personally, I'm a fan of them, but I just want to know why you don't really like to roll with them.
Well, I don't like to throw RPOs to the back of my quarterback.
Yeah.
That's just a preference. The reason being is that I have a hard time. Again, this is my preference. I'm not saying that it's right or wrong. I just don't want my quarterback turning his back to his read. So if I know that if I have a field side RPO that I want run, but I'm going to have my quarterback open to the boundary, he loses sight of his read. And so I don't want him turning his back and then flipping his hips back and making that throw. I want him to be able to identify who his run fitter is to the side that we RPO. That's just my preference. Now, I know a lot of colleges, a lot of high schools, bigger programs I've seen do it. It's just not my cup of tea. Again, I might find myself dabbling in it every once in a while. Just like I don't normally read inside linebackers. for RPOs, but we have one that we do. And so everything's an evolution. I'm just not at that point right now where I've evolved to that. So I hope that answers your question. Anybody else?
With the coach, with the backside stuff, talking about that, if you're going play side and you see like they're not respecting the backside, do you have
Yeah.
tags for that?
Yeah, I mean, everything you're talking about, like if like on a boundary throw, for example, if we're running the RPO to the field side and they're not respecting the backside boundary, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, if you're calling it to the field side and then you get something that tells you on the backside they're not respecting, like if you're 2x2 on
Yeah.
the backside, they're just not respecting it because they know you're running a certain way.
Uh-huh.
You have tags that tell your quarterback, hey, catch it and here we go.
Yeah, I mean, we build that in, each season to where, and then we get into the week saying, okay, well, this is what we're going to do. If they give us this look, we're going to do this. And then inside of the game itself, that's one of the things I am, even though we are, the program that I'm at, I've got a lot of kids new to 11-man. My quarterback is not. And so we're able to do a lot more. And I've got 3 incredible wide receivers and 1 H-back tight end who's really good. And so we're able to do some of that stuff and they understand it. And so, we do dabble in that a little bit. Yeah. All right. Anybody else before we move on? All right. You guys, again, if you have something, stop me. Don't feel that it's rude. Just jump in and say, hey, coach, I got a question. All right. So again, this is a Brett Deeren thing. A firm believer. We're going to make sure that we are gap sound. I teach our quarterbacks every year where they are protected. Our quarterbacks are protected C gap to C gap, and they are responsible for D gaps. So that means pre-snap and post-snap. They are responsible for the D gap run fitter. And so we and again, that's a lot of responsibility. But it's also, again, on the way we teach it, I think that it's pretty easy to teach. We do run C gap RPOs as well, and that's just old school triple option, in a new way, in a new form. So we'll go C gap to D gap reads on that, and we'll get into that in a little bit too. So coverages, everybody calls their coverages the way that they want to call it. Again, this is just the way that I've been taught and I've learned over the last, again, 5-6 years, and kind of have grown into it. We split our everything that we do. We focus off the hash marks. I read a study that 97% of football games are played on a hash mark. And so a lot of the things that we do inside our practices, we do off hash marks. We teach things based off of hash marks. So what we do is we split, the way I teach our quarterbacks is that we split the field up down the center's butt. Okay. And so what we do there is that we teach them a boundary coverage and we teach them a field coverage. And on that, we teach them who their run fitter is going to be, based off of those looks. So we don't teach necessarily a full field coverage for our quarterbacks, as much as we teach, cutting the field in half and talking about here's what boundary coverage we're getting, here's what field coverage we're getting, etc. So this first look, we have what is called key 4. We got a base cover 4 to the boundary. We got a key. We've got a key coverage. And again, here's kind of an explanation to it. So the cornerback here, the corner has no run gap. He'll be inside leverage to stop the post. The rover is the run fitter. He's going to be tighter to the box, and et cetera. So this is kind of just what we go over with our quarterbacks every off season through the summertime as we get into installations. And again, all this stuff covered Palms 2, what that looks like. again, if you want me to send this to you, I'm more than happy to send this to you. Again, this is not rocket science. This is not, this stuff right here is you can find it most anywhere. So, all right. So we're going to get into our, basically kind of these crude drawings that I have. When I did this presentation, my Playmaker Pro stuff was not working, and so I ended up having to do it this way. So I apologize for that. So this is our one of the first things that we do inside zone RPO. The very first thing that we teach with our inside zone RPO is the stick. And so our stick concept here, and so we're going to start with our post snap side again. We're in the pistol here, and we're comboing up front. It's not true full zone. We're going to combo the 1, combo the 3, work our way up to Mike and Will, and then our H is going to 3-step duck walk, take an inside out approach to our defensive end. To the what I call the backside defensive end, and then we're zoning out the front side. Our run fitter here is this Sam linebacker, and so we're reading him. And so what we do is we teach our quarterbacks that we're not looking at mesh point, we're not looking at anything else. We're going to stare down that D gap run fitter, and he's going to tell the story. If he squeezes down to fit the run and squeeze the box, we're going to pull it, and we're going to throw the stick, or we're going to throw the vertical. Once he pulls it, it becomes then the read on what he wants to do. We're not treating this as if it's a blitz. We're treating it as if he squeezes it, then we're going to pull it. If this corner rolls down, we're obviously not going to throw a stick there. We're going to throw a whole shot here. If he jumps it, or if he drops with the vertical, we're going to throw the stick and make the free safety come down and make the tackle. Again, it all is going to be dependent upon what each team each week does, but this is kind of how we do it. All right. And then pre-snap, again, we're into the boundary for this. It's either going to be a vertical, it's going to be a 5-yard stop, or it's going to be a slant route. On this drawing, I chose to throw a slant here because we got a roll down rover. If he's too tight, and again, we tell our quarterbacks, it's either yes or no. Okay. He's basically our run game coordinator. Our quarterback he's got to fit. He's responsible for this D gap run fitter. He's responsible for this D gap run fitter. And so if he feels that this rover is too tight to the run fit, okay, he's got to fix that. And by doing that, we're going to throw the slant. He's just going to rise up. Everybody else is running inside zone, the inside zone stick RPO. He's just going to rise up. He's going to throw the slant here, plain and simple. Okay. Any questions so far?
Coach, I got a question quick.
Yeah.
You said that you're going to go more towards the H back instead of the sniffer. Have you had any problems with your H back? I mean, I'm assuming his inside foot is splitting your tackle. Is that correct?
On when we get him on the wing?
Yeah.
He's going to be in what we call a ghost tight end.
Okay, so like where's his foot placement at?
So he's just he will be sitting right here. Can you see where I'm at right now?
Yep.
Okay, so that's basically where he's going to be right there.
Okay, so
Okay.
now, have you had any problems with him blocking that end?
No, we have not. Because one of the things that when we've done that before, we don't try to complicate it too much. If that end wants to squeeze down, we're gonna block him down. We're not, we obviously, we're gonna take our first step inside because we do want to get inside leverage on him and get our butt turned and get him turned. But if he wants to squeeze down, we're just gonna push him down and go for it. And basically what we tell our tailback is that we're gonna press the center's butt and go out the back door. And if we get pushed down here, then he's just going to be a little bit wider off that. And we've actually hit it pretty well coming right off of this where we're here and we wash that end down where we take this because, when he makes his third step, he's either continuing or he's making his cut out that way. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've just heard coaches argue where it's like, oh, if your H back is not a sniffer, he can't get inside position on that DN. And I would argue exactly like what you're saying is I personally, I haven't had a problem with my H-backs doing that. I don't have FCS, FBS level H-backs.
Yeah,
I mean, they're more than able to get inside and block those DNs no matter
exactly.
how big or fast they are. So I was just curious if you had any troubles with it.
And one of the things we have seen is that when we give that ghost tight end, we find that we have a lot of, again, and it may just be because we just have poor, we're just going against poor, defense coordinators. I don't know. We're a 3A school, so we may not be getting the best of the best here. But when I get in that ghost tight end look, that wing H back, we have faced a lot of head up defensive ends on our H back, which when we get that, we feel like our H back can get that inside leverage on him. And so we have not had that. We have not had a problem. If we face a defensive end that we feel like we just, he's going to be a handful, I tell our H-back, listen, let's not reinvent the wheel here. Let's not make this harder than it needs to be. Let's wash him down then. And we'll make the adjustment as a running back. And, one of the things we teach our quarterback is that, when he extends the ball out into our tailback stomach, he's riding that to what I call midpoint. So basically his belly button. So he's got to make that decision by the time he reaches by the time the ball reaches his belly button, his midpoint, he's either going to pull it and throw it, or he's going to give it. If we go past midpoint, we're going to run into a problem here. So the reason we emphasize that is two things: ball security, because anytime you go past midpoint, you're now pulling it through the tailback's hip, and you're gonna ask for some ball security issues. But also it gives our tailback an opportunity to make his cut where he needs to make it in time, and not be worrying if he's going to get the ball or not. So it just gives our tailback a lot of opportunities to be successful. All right. Yeah. Any other questions? Our next inside zone RPO to the field is our key two screen here. These two, the stick and the key two, are probably our two best and frequently run RPOs that we run off of inside zone, particularly to the field. Again, same approach here. I went with a two high look with a vertical, and so again, the corner here is a run fitter. And so we're going to use him as our read here. And so he's our pre-snap. If we feel like he's too tight, if he's got inside leverage, we feel like he's going to run it. He's going to be a trap corner and coming off. And we want to fix it. Then we're going to throw the vertical here where it's going to be a whole shot, not give this rover an opportunity to get over the top. This is a really poor drawing, so I apologize. So obviously not to scale here. He's probably going to be a little bit wider, a little bit more over the top here. So we want to make sure we throw what we call a two ball here and get it into this hole. So that's our pre-snap. Our post-snap here, again, is this D-gap run fitter here. Again, we're going to read him if he squeezes the fit, and we're gonna flip hips, and we're going to throw this. Now, again, it all depends on your quarterback. We throw a lot of times during our indie drills. We work a lot on off-platform throws with our quarterbacks, and what I mean by that is that we throw basically shortstop turning two type throws, second base type throws, where we're not always getting our hips turned. We're throwing a little sidearm, so we work off-platform throws on this. So that way again, sometimes things dictate being off-platform, so we don't want it to be new to our quarterback. So we work a lot of hip flips, but we also work a lot of off-platform throws. Here we're attacking our outside receivers, attacking our corner. One of the coaching points we talk to our inside slots here is that when we catch this, he's going to turn. We're not running a true bubble here. Basically, what we're doing is we're turning our numbers to the quarterback, and we're backpedaling at about half speed to three-quarter speed. We're showing the numbers. We work on this a lot. We teach our quarterbacks to throw to the upfield shoulder. And then once he catches it, we are working on getting to the sideline. Because if this free safety is going to be the one who triggers down, I want him to have to work through this, not being able to, if we catch this and turn right here, we're giving the free safety an opportunity to get to us easier. So we're gonna catch this. We're gonna hit the sideline. We're gonna make him have to work over the top. So it's important that our outside receivers work on getting their butts to the sideline and turning him in so we can get this sideline. Any questions there? All right. Our next one here, again, as I talked about, probably our third best one that we run off inside zone. We run a crap ton of inside zone, if you haven't guessed it, especially with our RPOs. Another field side RPO that we run is now, if we've run, and I got some video clips here that I'll show you. We run this key two screen enough times, and we start getting a heavy trigger from this free safety, or this corner starts doing some things. What we'll do is that we'll run this this key two screen here, but we're going to run a slant with the outside receiver. And you'll see on one of the clips that I have where we get a free safety who, as soon as he turns his back and starts backpedaling, he triggers hard. And then we throw the corner triggers because he sees it, thinks that he's going to, so he takes an outside approach to it, trying to beat that outside receiver to this crawfish. And then we get here and we run the slant and we hit him right here for a touchdown. And so it's something, again, that we make that call inside of the game itself, based off of triggers that we see. Again, a split zone, when we're running split zone RPOs, again, it's just inside zone, but we're just changing things up with our H. We will, I do like to run the snag concept here with our outside receiver and getting a corner look here. So it's just again, a little bit different look. One of the things that we also will do is based off some things, if we'll run a little tag here, RPO tag, and we'll run a C gap RPO here. Well, we'll read him, and then we're going to read him. We're going to leak this H back out here. If the Sam linebacker or D gap run fitter triggers, we'll throw the little quick out here. If he goes with them, then we pull it and keep going. So just some simple things there. All right, we got a. All right, hey, Coach Chief, we see. I got your message, man. All right. Next thing we got up here is outside zone RPO. We've run this a lot over the past. Again, like I said, we're not going to be running as much outside zone next year as much as we're going to run buck. But here's one of our favorite ones that we do run. We do run outside zone into the boundary. We run it away from the H-back. And it's one of the few times that we do get in a sidecar. If I know that we're going to do a week where we're going to run a lot of outside zone, we will run a lot of inside zone out of sidecar to keep teams from tipping that we're going to run outside zone. And so we'll do that. But we do like to run our outside zone into the boundary away from the H. If we get again, we're reading this rover, this roll down post snap. We're going to take two slide steps with our quarterback to ride the ride the mesh point here. We get a trigger upfield from here. We're just going to pull it and throw the glance route here. And this glance route, instead of a 3-step, it's a 5-step with our receiver. So his break is going to be anywhere between 5 to 7 yards. And we're going to get that. We're going to throw that right behind this rover here. Our pre-snap is our key two screen. If we see a tight fitter here, then we'll just rise up and throw the key two for pre-snap. Any questions? All right. So our another boundary RPO is off power. We will run, and we do run a lot of key, what I call key screens with our power and counter stuff, with our gap scheme stuff, because again, we don't want to pass fire O-line. We want them getting up to the next level. And so we do run a lot of behind the line of scrimmage stuff, so we don't have to worry about that. This is a key one screen for us. It's just a hitch screen that we run into the boundary. We're going to block that corner. This, unlike the key two, we do want to get inside this and get up these numbers. And so if we get a trigger here in a squeeze, We're going to pull it, throw this key one, and get him up here and make that free safety have to make that tackle up here. Again, to the field side, single receiver, based off of what they do. Most of the time we'll go into the week saying, hey, if we have a single receiver and we're to the field and we're going to run a boundary RPO, our pre-snap RPO, our pre-snap gift route is going to be the slant route. That's what we'll go into the week with, and then make adjustments from there. All right, here's a C gap RPO that we do off of inside zone. Again, it's the new age triple option, as some say. Some of the coaching points that we work through here with our H-back particularly is that we're going to arc release him, and we tell him as he's arc releasing, okay, he is going to eyeball the Mike backer. If that Mike backer scrapes hard, we're going to pick him up, okay? If he goes ahead and fits the run here because he sees inside zone, then we're going to go ahead and continue our path up to the next level and get the free safety. We're going to run our first read here is going to be our defensive end. He squeezes to the run. We're going to pull it. We're going to run our key 2 screen, and then we're going to read our D gap run fitter. If he triggers to the key 2, then we're going to keep and get up the seam here. Because again, we have our lead blocker with our H-back on the free safety, and so we feel real confident about that. If he does trigger it to us, to the quarterback, these are one of those off-platform throws that we have our quarterbacks make, and so he doesn't stop. What he does is that he's going to make a kind of a turn 2 shortstop throw. So he's going to continue to attack that Sam backer, and he's going to throw kind of off platform to the key 2 here, and we work real hard each week on those throws. So, and then this is the one that I was talking about with our split zone, leak with our H back off of a C gap read. Same thing here. If he triggers to the H back because he sees him out, we're gonna continue upfield. If he squeezes down the quarterback, we're just gonna flip that thing out there and go. And then we sometimes, depending on the week, we'll send 2 double verticals. We'll run double slants with this, or we'll run this concept right here where we got a vertical and a slant, and we just rub it and get to the H back here. So, all right, here's some of the video footage that I have here, and so this is this first one here. Hopefully this thing runs smoothly. So we got a field side stick here. All right, so this is just the inside zone, look here. Again, this is our run fitter here. Okay, we've our quarterback here. We ran a lot of sidecar this first year here. This is when I was at the offense coordinator at Bastrop High School here in Texas, 5A public school here, and so we've got again, we felt like that he was squeezing down on this. Run inside zone, he squeezed, no problem. We run the stick. That's just pitch and catch right there. I do teach our receivers, hey, yeah, we do want to turn outside, but let's not give up so much ground when we do that.
I got a question, Coach.
And so we gotta, yeah, man.
So right here in your box fit, like the backside safeties rolled middle of the field here. Do you have problems identifying C gap, D gap defenders? Because if that safety rolls to cover 3 here and they send that outside star, doesn't he presumably become the D gap fitter instead of the second level, third level defenders?
That's a great question. We kind of take that in a week to week thing. Like for example, because of where he is aligned, we just consider him the D gap. If he gets out here, he's no longer the D gap. That free safety over the top is going to be D gap. And so we just, again, I'm not trying to skirt your question. We just kind of take it as they're giving us, and we make the adjustments from there.
I got you. A lot of times what we see in a 3-4, that outside backer in a reduction front will come, and we will, signify him as the D gap fitter because we moved to more of that this year. But when they sent that outside backer and then rolled strong from that field reduction,
Yeah.
we now had to identify a new D-gap fitter. So I didn't know if it was better second level or if y'all had the same issues we were having.
You know, it all depends. Honestly, with, you know, we had some weeks we did, especially when I was at Bastrop, we got, you know, when we get a 3-3 stack, we had some issues with that. You know, one of the things we try to do with our H-backs is to clarify that he's got the first man outside the tackle. And so we try not to talk about, hey, you've got the defensive end, because, you know, if you're facing a stack or you're facing an odd front, he's in a 4-eye. You know, he's not the defensive end. He's not your guy. And so you're going to look at the first guy outside that defensive, you know, that first guy outside that tackle. If you've got a roll down here, you know, if that, for example, if he reduces down, that ends up becoming your man. And so we work through those things inside the game itself. And so, you know, when I was at Bastrop, I had a great offensive staff, guys that worked the booth, guys that worked down on the sideline with me, that were, you know, identified things quickly, and we were able to make adjustments quickly on the sideline. It does help, you know, when you have high IQ kids, those things do help when you're able to make those things. So, you know, again, I don't know if that necessarily answers the question, but we just kind of take it as is. And, you know, if we do get some, you know, if we get some reduction, and there are some things that we just won't run, and we just don't feel comfortable with it, we end up going more play action than we do RPO. And so we work really hard at our RPO stuff and our play action stuff to look very much the same. If we feel like that, hey, the RPO just is not good for us this week based off of this look, so we're going to run a lot more play action stuff to make sure that we're able to take advantage of some things. Does that help?
Yeah, yes, sir. My bad. I took my mute off, but yeah.
No, you're good. You're good. So, all right. Again, I think this is the one I just showed here. Again, I like the look here. You get this look, you got a bail here, you got a safety who's playing, 12 yards off. This is just stealing right here. Our next look here, again, same thing. We're gonna, we're gonna work the stick concept up here. Not a lot of yards after the catch here, but the one that we did, one of the things that we did like on this is the fact that we got to our receiver smart here. He gets to the sticks is a big third down. This is a big first down for us on this drive, particularly because this is a drive that we were opening the half with against Brenham, which was a district rival of ours. We were at their place. This was a 19-play, 11.5-minute drive to open the third quarter. And so, which is unheard of, especially in high school, to take up 30, almost, 11.5 minutes of a quarter. But again, our receiver does a great job of getting to the sticks and converting a first down here. All right. This is again, we were playing Elgin High School here. We were starting to get some trigger. And so we were starting off our key 2. So we started running the key 2 with the slant. And we were actually doing our outside receiver. This outside receiver is our backup quarterback. He was a really good athlete. So we had to get him on the field. Very heads up guy. There were a number of times that he'd run his slant through this safety to kind of pick him off for us to be able to continue to still run this screen here. And then this last one here is one that, again, off of like the last play. This is against Brenham the next year. Again, we were on this drive right here, and we were just killing them with the key 2. And then we saw kind of the story here is that we checked into it. These two were arguing with each other on who got what. And so we just checked out of the key 2 and went to our key 2 and slant and feel it liked what we saw here. Both of them triggered, left it. So, Coach, I saw a raised hand. You got a question?
Yeah, I was gonna ask, so with the receiver on the keys, right? You're calling them keys? Sorry.
Yeah.
So on the key two, do you have your outside receiver block MDM, or do you designate that week, or how do you work who's blocking?
He's actually blocking the corner. So he's gonna block his guy straight up. And so because we want to get this and get up the sideline here. So his responsibility is here. Okay. If we feel like that this guy is starting to trigger or starting to squeeze down to impact this, this is where we run the key two and slant. Okay. Again, you can see, I mean, as soon as he turned his back, he was gone. Caused some hesitation here because we had been, again, I think we ran this play. I think we ran key two like 4 plays in a row on this drive because I just kept giving it to us. So that answer your question, Coach?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. And then here's my contact information. Obviously, all of you are in this because you follow me on Twitter or you saw my post. I have that Coach Tube course. I also have the YouTube channel. So again, this is going to be in the YouTube channel itself. And so this will be posted on that. A couple other things that that I wanted to show y'all is our weekly practice schedule and how we go through this. And so one of the things that, and we've modified this a little bit more, even more during the season, this past season, because we don't actually go through a formal warm up. What we do is we actually warm up during our individual time. So what we started doing is we took out this team pace period because it just wasn't effective for us because I was running this team pace period at a 5A public school where I had 65 kids on offense. And then, and we had 65 guys on defense. So it worked out a lot. When you're at a 3A private school with 40 kids, we're not getting a clean pace period. So what we ended up doing is taking this team pace period out, adding it into individual, and then our individual time, every position coach is responsible for the stretching and warm up. Obviously, offensive linemen, their stretching and warm-ups a lot different than quarterbacks, receivers, or running backs. So we don't do a formal warm-up stretch time as a team. We only do that during pregame in game. Everything else is during the individual time. We have our RPO drill. We do, again, standard inside offense, outside, what I call outside offense, which is team pass. I don't like 7-on-7 a whole lot. So everything we do is we do it team pass period. So we'll go screen game, we'll do play action, we'll do pocket stuff during that team pass period as a full team. And then each day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we are working on certain situations. Like, for example, Monday is about open field. So we're working through our open field script for that week. So we're going to spend 15 minutes working that team that team period open field offense. Now, the thing that we do differently is that we do not coach during team. So I have one coach who stands behind the offensive huddle just to make sure things are staying clean. And then I have a coach who works scout team. Everybody else is on the sideline. We're doing our signals. We don't stop play to run something. We don't stop play to fix something. The rationale behind that is that I don't want these guys feeling like they're going to get rescued in the middle of a game. If we're running offense in the middle of a game, I can't ask the defense, "Hey, can we stop for a second so I can coach this?" I want everything, every team period time that we spend is a game. It's a game scenario. So what we do is that something I started a couple years ago is what we do a cleanup period, a 5-minute cleanup period after team. And so what will happen is that everybody, when we come on a team, everybody will then go back into individual. And that time, that 5-minute time, is where the position coaches are going to be able to work and clean up and talk to their position groups about what they saw. Hey, we got to do better at this. So I encourage our coaches, hey, make sure you bring something to write with out to practice. You can write on your script. I don't care, on your practice plan. I don't care. Take your notes, that sort of thing during those team periods on what you need to cover. Coaches love it. It's been a big help for us. And the players actually enjoy it because they feel like they're getting game scenarios during that time. Excuse me. Tuesday, same type of setup here. Our team period is we work fringe and red zone offense. And then Wednesday, we're working third downs, goal line, and 2-point conversion. So we work that during that time. And then, so you got our template here. This is what my call sheet looks like. This is what we use. That all the offensive coaches, the whole staff gets. Our openers, our first 9 plays that we script out. We have
Hey,
our kill the
Coach,
clock. Yeah.
Your
Coach,
screen's not share, Coach.
Yeah, we can't see it.
Oh, you can't?
Uh-uh.
Oh, I'm sorry. My bad. Resume sharing. My bad, fellas. I didn't realize that had stopped. All right. So again, did you guys not see this practice schedule?
No, we're still on the first PowerPoint.
Okay. My apologies, fellas. So this is what I was talking about here, this practice schedule. We take out this team pace period. We now have 20 minutes of individual time. This is where we do our stretching and stuff like that. And then we get into our position drills and stuff like
Coach,
that.
I think you got to get off of the PowerPoint tab that you got open right now.
Okay. So screen sharing stopped. Okay. Let's see.
Yeah, I think you were sharing just the individual window rather than just the screen.
How about that?
Yep, that's them.
All right. Hey, this is appreciate you guys letting me know. I don't know what happened there. I don't know why. I've been able to flip screens in the past. I don't know what happened there. So
it's all right. Tech support right here.
all right. So again, and then this what I was talking about, this individual offensive period, this is what we call our cleanup period here. Okay. And so this is where we come out of team and we go back into individual time. And this is where our coaches, our position coaches, are able to clean up and talk to their position groups about what they saw during that team period. Also, it gives we encourage our guys if they've got questions about things that they saw, ask those questions. So that cleanup time is very much like you're coming off the field onto the sideline. We're making our adjustments and that sort of thing. So again, we try to create that team scenario during that time. So anybody have any questions on this?
Yeah, John, real quick.
Yeah.
On your inside run,
Yeah.
you've got your quarterbacks and wide receivers doing routes on air. So when do you work your mesh, your quarterback running back mesh? Do you do that during during individual?
Yeah. What we do is that we'll build inside of that 20 minutes. We may do a 5-minute period with running backs and quarterbacks doing group work. So what I do is I get with our coaches and say, okay, we've got 20 minutes of this individual time. Okay. So I always tell my coaches, I want 5 minutes of drill work, something everyday drills, something that's working on their craft. Working through our install. Obviously, if we're in the dog days of the season, sometimes the install isn't much because we're running, Mondays are zone days. So inside zone, that sort of thing. So we'll probably do a little bit more group work here with our running backs and quarterbacks. Our H-backs will work a little bit more with the O-line to work some things. So we just kind of build that here inside that 20-minute individual offensive period.
All right. So that's kind of more like an air raid inside where everybody's moving around.
Yes.
Okay.
And so on this inside offense here, this 10-minute period, we're doing true inside run game. Versus our front that we're facing that week. And then And then our backup quarterback, we do 10 minutes. So 5 minutes are with our number one will be with the inside run. Our number two is with the receivers. And then after 5 minutes, those two flip.
Okay.
So our quarterbacks are getting some routes on air with our receivers, and our number two is getting his run game, getting run game stuff in. Does that make sense?
That does. And then in the pass game, the outside offense, that's not a true 7-on-7, but it's not routes on air either. So
No,
can you
we're
kind of
gonna
explain kind of where you're at in that gray area.
Yeah, so what this outside offense is, and it's a great question, is it's what I call a team pass period. So it's offense versus a scout team defense, full team, but we're working nothing but pass games. So we're not going to work RPOs. We'll work play action. We'll work bootlegs. We'll work, our sprint out game, those types of things against a full team pass. And so, and then when we get into that team period, we're working everything. So we're scripting that out. So I don't like 7-on-7. I want our quarterbacks to see the O-line and D-line in front of them. 7-on-7 kind of gives a false sense of time. So I want them to see the blitz. I want them to see the rush. I want them to feel it. I want them to get that in-game experience. So that's why we kind of do that outside offense and what I call a team period during that time. So I know that says O-line pass rush. We have changed that, this past year to do more team pass during that time. That makes sense?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So,
Yeah.
Coach, your O-line is a part of I see you have O-line pass rush, but they're there though.
So this is my old weekly practice schedule. I have not updated it. I'll update it and get it to you guys. But we changed this outside offense to more team pass than it is outside offense because we don't do 7-on-7 anymore. Like I said, our O-line, our D-line, our linebackers, our DBs, our running backs, H-backs, it's a full team period of 10 minutes of nothing but pass game. Because I want them to, again, if I want our running backs and H-backs and to feel where their fits are in regards to play action and where they need to be going through. And I want our quarterbacks to see the rush and going through his full progression of things.
Makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah. And then again, we work open field on Mondays. We work fringe and red zone offense on Tuesdays. We work third downs, goal line, and 2-point conversion. Our Wednesday team period is 20 minutes because we want to spend a little extra time on third downs, goal line, and 2-point conversion on those days. So, all right, I'm going to try this again here. So I'm going to exit out of this.
A quick question, Coach.
Yeah.
On Mondays, I guess I got two quick questions. On Mondays, are you shells? And then would this be like a 2-platoon type of practice? Like how much time are you sharing with your defense? Is defense working each day like you're working offense each day?
Yeah. So what we do is, we're full pads every day, but our full pads is a little bit different because we wear volleyball knee pads. So we're in helmet, shoulder pads, shorts, and volleyball knee pads every day. So we don't actually wear pants during practice. And so we're always in what I call a full pad setup. But because we are a smaller school, our number, I've got 40 guys playing football. Like on Mondays, we start with offense. It's a heavy offensive day. Then on Tuesdays, we start with defense. It's a heavy defense day, but we get offense, special teams, and defense every single day, 3 days for those 3 days. And then obviously on Thursdays, our walkthrough day. So we go through all offense, all defense, all special teams on that day.
Are you looking at an hour and a half, 2 hours then?
We'll be about, we pace our practice. So we're going no more than 2 hours most times because we move pretty fast. All right. All right, can you see that? What's on y'all's screen right now?
Yeah, we can see it, the play sheet template.
Yeah. All right, here we go. So this play sheet template right here, okay, is what all of our offensive coaches get. This is what we work on through the week. You know, we started on the weekend and we work it through the week. And by the time we get to Thursday, we have this thing filled out, ready to go. Okay. And so we have our first 9 that we're opening with. And then we work left hash, middle, and right hash on our third downs, third 1 and 2, third 3 and 4, third 5 and 6, third 7 and 10, third 11 and plus, that sort of thing. We have our open fields. So anything, you know, from the -20 to the +45 that we're working through here. Then this part right here is what we call our landmark. So if we're once we get to the +40, we're in what we call our shot zone. So 40 to 35 to the 30. You know, when we get to that area, we're looking to take a shot. And so we'll take shots. Then we get into our fringe area. You know, like I said, we work red zone and fringe on Tuesdays. Our fringe area is at +25. And then our red zone right here is we start with the +20. We'll go through the scenarios, then we get into our goal line and then 2-point plays. So that's kind of how we work through it. And then we have our sections over here to the right with our, you know, notes section that guys write on, our 2-minute offensive notes, our 4-minute offense notes, our you know, go for 2 chart. Not sure why doesn't have a number there. I don't know what happened there, but our go for 2 chart, ahead, behind, and then our kill the clock scenarios as well. Any questions on this play script, this template? We feel like this helps us a bunch during the week because it keeps us, you know, one of the things it's always a struggle during team and during when you're going through practice of just calling plays to call plays. And so we build this, you know, our backside of this document. You know, this is what it looks like. So we put formations down through here. This has changed up quite a bit over the years. We work through our formations here. We have a press box sheet that we use for our guys that they go through, you know, our series, every series, what play calls, thoughts, you know, what happened on those plays and those sorts of things. We have a sideline. We have a sideline guy who takes again that charts plays, and then we also have our practice scripts that we work through as well. So, yes, sir, Coach, you got a question?
Yeah, Coach, I was just wondering, because you're going to that air raid convention. How many progression concepts do you have?
We have, you know, we actually have quite a few. You know, one of the things that we do, let me get to this, sorry. Starting a new share, sorry. Is we really kind of, as we went in through this year, our play action pocket stuff is pretty much all air raid type, you know, concepts. So we run Y sail, we run Y cross, we run mesh, we run shallow. And so we'll play action off that. We'll run our regular drop back stuff off that. So a lot of the stuff that I learned out of the air raid during my time running air raid stuff, I really have incorporated into our power spread stuff with our play action stuff and our you know, just regular drop back stuff. That answer your question, Coach?
Yeah, Coach. So it's kind of well, it's not imitative, but it's close to what Lincoln Riley does, right?
Yeah.
Kind of like
So
a power. Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of people, you know, one of the things that's happened with, you know, over the last couple of years that we've kind of morphed into a lot with that Lincoln Riley stuff. It's really become more, you know, yes, we're still RPO, we still RPO quite a bit, but really we've turned into more kind of a power air raid type team. We don't run GT a lot, but we do run GH or what I call counter H. We do run a lot of that stuff. We like to run power. But I wouldn't say that we're a full scale air raid team, because we do have our HVAC. We do run some of the stuff that we do run, but in regards to like right here, this install schedule, you guys see this install schedule, like our pocket stuff right here, we're running Y sail, Y cross, we're running verts, we're basically 6, we're running mesh, shallow, those sorts of things. That's all leech and mummy stuff, that I've just taken and just incorporated with our HVAC. So instead of being in 4 wides so much, we're running it with an HVAC on the wing or a tight end. So so that's kind of how we go through it. So any other questions on that?
Not on that, but moving your HVAC from the sniffer out to that ghost tight end.
Yeah.
Is that because of your personnel or what you're seeing, or what was the thought behind that?
A little mixture of what we're seeing and also the personnel. Like I said, the kid that I have, and he, this year he's a sophomore, so I got him for 2 more years, and this kid's just a stud. He's a beast. Just giving him more opportunities. I've had some years where our HVAC has been basically a second team linebacker who doesn't have any hands, and he's really not a true threat in the pass game. So we run him more like that power, like that fullback type kid. But with the kid that I have right now, actually, even the backup that I have is going to be a real good HVAC tight end. We just feel good about putting him in on that wing and putting him in as a actual tight end, and feel like we can maximize some things there, get him in the pass game and get him a threat, just like the matchup that we're getting off that.
Have you noticed it? Is it easier or harder as far as reading that D gap run fitter?
Not yet. We haven't had any issues with it. I'm sure teams like all defensive coordinators do. They'll make their necessary adjustments, but we have, we haven't seen anything that really kind of blew our minds that, okay, now they're giving us a different look. Like I said, one of the things that we did get is we ended up getting a head up end on our HVAC or our tight end when we have him on the wing, which was interesting. Which again felt pretty good about the way being able to still block inside zone. The one thing that we are still working on timing wise is running split zone when he's at the wing, because of the timing. So we're still working through that. It may just get to where we have to make some sort of adjustment where we maybe put him directly behind the tackle instead of a wing. I don't know. We're playing with it this spring, but we just know that we've got to be able to utilize this kid more than we did early on last season, because he's a threat.
So you've got him out there more for quick game, drop back, bootleg, that sort of stuff.
Not so much quick game, because most of our quick games tied into our run game. But definitely with our play action, our drop back stuff, our sprint out stuff, our bootleg stuff. One of the things we found with him being in that sniffer set, trying to run drop back, is him getting caught up in the trash a lot, trying to get his release. And so we really felt like, okay, let's put him on the wing, and let's work it that way. And we didn't really have we didn't have too many issues with it. We ran a lot of outside zone to him, which was great. And so, we didn't run as much outside zone away from him, but when we got the head up end, when he was at the wing, we were able to seal that defensive end pretty easily on outside zone, and felt pretty good about it. So. Cool. Yeah. All right. Moving into our install schedule here. This is kind of basically what we do, kind of a blueprint of how we go about our business every year. Obviously things change, but this is kind of just a basic overview. We do a 3-day install. Day 4, we go back to day 1. day 5, we go back to day 2, day 6, we go back to day 3. And if we need to add some things, we'll add some things. But like on day 1, we're gonna, we're working a 2x2, 20 personnel, 3x1, 20 personnel. What I deemed 20 personnel last year was when we had our HVAC and our sniffer set. We would do that. Then our 2x2, 11 personnel is when he was in a wing. We've kind of cleaned that up a little bit and just treating it more 11 personnel. And calling our 20 personnel when we're in split back, just cleaning some things up on that standpoint. We go into our motions, what run game we're going to install that day, what we want to install quick game wise to tie into the run game, and then what pocket stuff we want to run here, and then what screens that we're going to run, the play action that we're going to run with our pocket stuff. What we want to attach with our sprint out game, etc. So that's just kind of how we go through this. And obviously every year is going to change, because if you've got a veteran team coming back, you're able to do a little bit more. If you got you graduate a number of kids and you got a little bit younger group, we trim some of this off, and that we go into week 2 in, because they just can't take the amount of stuff that we're doing. My last year at Bastrop, we had a heavy sophomore team, so we trimmed back our install schedule just because our quarterback was a sophomore, 3 of our receivers were sophomore, our tailback was a sophomore, so we just felt like we needed to hold their hand a little bit more. Coach, I see your hand raised. What's up?
Hey, Coach. So I saw the way you drew up your inside zone.
Yeah.
So if you draw up your inside zone that way, how do you draw up split zone?
It's split zone's the same thing. We block it up front exactly the same. We're just setting the H-back away from it. What we call basically play side, and then he's flashing across and basically going to wham block the defensive end.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
that's how it's blocked the same up front. So we really we emphasize to our O-line. That's why we install inside zone and split zone on the same day, because it's not any different for our O-line. It's just different from our H-back.
Okay, so then one more question, because
Yeah.
when you drew it up, let's say you had the Y to the field side, or your H-back, sorry, your H-back was to the field side, and you had 2 double teams. It was center guard, double team to the will, then what was it, tackle, guard, double team to the mic.
Yeah.
So the 3 technique was to the field side,
Yep.
also to the H-back side. When
Yep.
you have put them on the other side, does that 3 technique switch, or
Some
what do you usually
opponents
see?
do. That's a great question, because some opponents will do it. They'll base their 3 technique on where the H-back is. Some will base it off of field and boundary. And so we do that based on, a lot of the times we'll do some of that stuff based off of what we can manipulate. If the 3 technique switches over to the H-back side on that, basically what happens is we just start full zoning things. And so our center, our guard will zone the 3 technique, and our center will work up to the next level. We'll get a 1 technique, so we'll zone to the 1, and our tackle will work up to Mike. So it ends up being almost a full zone instead of combos when we get that look.
Okay, yeah, because that's what I was wondering.
Yeah, and we've run into both actually, and
Yeah.
so we do spend time, and that's just part of the preparation that we each week. Again, like I said, there are some opponents that we have faced before that doesn't matter. The 3 technique is always going to go to the field side. And then we have some opponents that say our 3 technique is going to go to your H-back every single time. So everybody has their own preference, I guess. So, all right, I'm going to stop sharing this, kind of open it up. Again, like I said, I'm not that polished speaker type guy. I'm just a high school coach in Texas, who, I promise you 90% of the guys that are on this Zoom call probably do it way better than I do. This is just what I do. This is why, I just wanted to show you guys, what we do and talk about it. Does anybody have anything that they want to share? Any thoughts? Any additional questions, about what we talked about, what I talked about tonight, that sort of thing? Anything I can share with?
Yeah,
Yeah.
coach, if you don't mind, we're a big counter H team.
Yeah.
And I was just kind of curious, what are your favorite RPOs, your more successful RPOs with that counter H scheme?
We run nothing but key screens with those. So we'll run a key
Okay.
2 screen and a key 1 screen. And the reason being is because I also like counter H a lot. I like power and counter H a lot. We didn't run any of it this past year because of the situation we were in. We zoned everything, which sucked, and I hated it. But this coming season, we will get back to doing what we do, because we'll be older and wiser up front. But we run the 2 key screens with it only because I don't want our O-line getting passive. I don't, I want them getting up to the next level. And so us throwing our behind the line of scrimmage screens, I feel good about that because it keeps us aggressive up front.
Hey, Coach, I'll be able to help you on the counter H. So you're calling it there. So we do we'll throw a lot of posts, we'll throw a lot of crosses, we'll even throw like hitch stuff to it, as well as like key screens or whatever we want there. That's just wherever we can see wherever the graph is and who's going to be that fold fitter. And depends if you're doing it like boundary field to the boundary. I really like the post to the single receiver there. That's a good one. Depends on your quarterback can really put it on him. Key screens are always good, but a lot of time we see lots of like those press looks in everyone in the hard deck across the board. So I like a lot of crosses generally, especially coming from the field. We want to steal a lot of grass. So we just coach that crosser to really just out of his break find daylight.
You run into any issues with a legal man downfield running counter H and running deeper routes?
No, not at all. Because you have is coach the quarterback on that. So we tell O-line go ham, like be absolutely aggressive on it, and don't worry. Like any of that downfield stuff, I'll put that on me. Sometimes it happens, but we just live with it. Some things like Coach Crowlers always keeps telling us is just go play fast. You can be fine.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. Good stuff, Coach. Good stuff. Any other questions?
Yeah, I've got a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
How often is your quarterback pulling the ball and keeping it running?
Depends on the year. I mean, I have a kid right now who's pretty mobile, so we let him get out there. And so that stuff that's a call. That's not his determination. So that's just a call that we make. So we're either gonna D gap RPO or we're gonna C gap RPO. Our C gap RPOs are zone read stuff. And so those are all calls from the sideline. That makes sense?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Coach, when you're worried about the lineman downfield, what are you worried about, your pullers or your down blocks being upfield?
Mostly our pullers.
Okay.
Yeah. We ran into a couple, I guess it may just be because we ran into a string of bad luck my first year of Bastrop, where we had 5 touchdowns called back because of a legal man downfield, and they were all on our power counter stuff.
And did you think, did you skip pull, you open pull?
Skip pull.
Skip pull. Okay.
Yeah. And so we just, again, if we, maybe it's just being overly conservative of that, but I just feel, I feel pretty good with the two screens. I do like the idea of running the crossers with it. We were running Y cross with it, like Coach was talking about. And that's, we were getting, I tell you, we were getting we were hitting that Y crosser about 15 to 20 across the field, and we're just excited about it. And it seemed like every time we hit him for a touchdown or something deep, we were getting called because our puller got upfield and just it just felt like it was burning us. But again, I probably need to do a better job going back at it and just not worrying about it. Like Coach Thomas was saying, you just deal with the consequences if it happens. But that's just something that's probably more on me of just I've got to do a better job of just staying with it.
Yes, some of it as well just depends on like what's the depth of the linebackers, or if you got any box safeties or anything like that. For like we see a lot of where they're pretty tight to the line, so we can get away with a lot more. Tempo also helps a lot. There's so many moving bits. There's a lot of eye candy. So even for the officials, they've got to be able to play the tempo. So that works to it as well. But if you're seeing like a couple teams where their linebackers are deep, so we just played more of a zone or zip, or that zone inside with the H-back. That was a better look to RPOs. We can stay on those on those combos. So like on those like gap scheme, you want to go like we'll do it off GT, we'll do it off dart, we'll do it off power, like anything, even off box sweep. We did one where the outside receiver we had a pick cross like a rub pick cross there for that look. But it's just based on how those second level defenders play. If they're really deep and they're slow to react downfield, you're probably going to get called more for the legal downfield a little bit more. It just depends on the technique and where's the grass going to be and what's the timing and cadence of it. So we really coach hard on the quarterback, hip to hip. And if it's past that, well, you're definitely going to get called for it there. Sometimes by game plan, be more aggressive. So we did one doing zone insert, and we were throwing 10-yard curls into the boundary as the RPO for it, because we knew that's where the grass was going to be.
Right.
We picked like a blocking scheme that's going to match to the timing of the throw. So like we wouldn't do that off of like power or counter GT or GH, however you want to do it. But if the linebackers are playing, there's one team we played, their linebackers were like damn near 3 yards from the ball. We could do whatever we wanted there.
Right.
But tempo is a big part. You can steal a lot more plays because we go real fast. So we can get to about 4.5 yards downfield and we'll get away with it.
Gotcha.
There's sometimes, depending on the crew, you might not. But like, again, going fast helps you on that stuff. It really does.
How many of you guys run? One of the things that I learned from studying Coach Malzahn, one of the things we do is that with our tempo stuff, and Coach was kind of led me into this thought with our tempo stuff, is that we work our team during our team period and stuff, that anything that we get that's 10 yards or more, we're sprinting back to the line of scrimmage. We're not changing formations. We run the exact same play again. And when we do anything that's 10 yards or more, we're getting right back in the line. We're not going through our cadence. It's just go. And we're running the exact same play. Do most of you guys do that? Who doesn't do that? Who doesn't? How's it worked for you?
Well, Coach, we do that a lot. When I say a lot, I mean a lot. Like, especially if we throw one down the field, and like we tag RPOs and post snaps and pre snaps with our run. So I'm a big power counter buck sweep guy. So if we bust one for like power's been our biggest play. So we'll bust one for like 20 yards. We'll get back on it. We'll call it bingo. So our quarterback say bingo. There's no cadence, and he'll say go, snap the ball. We'll run it again. Right. But then we'll do it again, and then we'll give a signal to, hey, throw the hitch instead, because you done ran the play 2 or 3 times in a row. So now they're cheating the box. And then on that solo receiver side, we'll throw the hitch. So it's been very successful for, especially when you break one and you get towards the red zone and they try to substitute their players we won't allow them to substitute. You either burn a timeout or stay with the same personnel.
That's awesome. That's good. One of the things that we that is something that we need to do a better job on. And again, it's just when you're working with a group of kids who really don't have a high 11-man IQ. I mean, again, I've got a handful of them to do, but it's just understanding that game. It is fun to watch. We did it when I was at my previous school, is, when you've got the RPO attached to it, and you're running inside zone with stick, and you've got a pre-snap, and you got your pre-snap gift route. You can literally run that play 4 times in a row, and have 4 different outcome, 4 different people touching the ball, 5 different people touching the ball. You give your pre-snap gift throw, you have your handoff, you've got, or 4 people, you have your stick you could throw, you throw your vertical, you can do that 4 times in a row, just, running fast. And so we had a lot of success there, and that's just something that we're trying to build at where I'm at now. So we're at an hour and 35 minutes into this, which is hard to believe. Before we close it up, anybody else have any final thoughts, any other things that they want to share? One of the things that I'm going to be doing, I've done this the last couple of years, is that holding one of these once a month, and having different speakers. I've had Coach Dearman on it before. I've had the Coach Phillips from Elkhorn State on. I've had a couple defensive coaches on. I've had Morgan Cruz, was with Coach Dearman before. He's now back with Coach Dearman at North Alabama. And so having different speakers on, talking from different point of views. I do like to have defensive coaches on as well, talking about how they defend what, the power spread type stuff, the RPOs, that sort of thing. So just be on the lookout for that. We're hoping to do this monthly through the off season, to keep, again, it's about growing the game, growing the philosophy. Iron sharpens iron. It's just a way to get better. And, one of the things that I always say that came out of COVID that was positive is these types of Zoom sessions where, I get more out of these things than I do going to a coaching clinic most of the time. And so I do appreciate all of you guys coming on board, and for your time tonight, and the questions were great. Again, I know that I talk a lot, and so if your question did not get answered that you sent me, throw it out there now and let's get it done, and that sort of thing. So before we close out, the floor is y'all's. Any closing thoughts?
Hey, Coach, I just had one question for you because you just made the transition. I'm thinking of making the transition you made, but you went from 120 kids in your program, right, to 40. So you were talking about tempo. How do you translate the tempo between the two? Because like you said, you had one-way players at the other school, where now you have guys that are going to go both ways. And I feel like, even Oregon had the effect, right? When Oregon was up there with Chip Kelly, that their defense was getting scored on and giving up more points because their defense played most of the game on the field.
Yeah.
So when you have two-way players, like you probably do, that's my question. Like, how do you think tempo is going to be a positive thing in the long run, or do you think it would be a negative thing if you're being scored on at the same time?
No, I this past year, at times it was a negative, and that had a lot to do with just the transition with the kids. But ultimately, it became a positive because it really helped our conditioning, where we weren't tired in the game. We were actually wearing teams out because of our tempo, and we get into the midpoint of the third quarter, and our guys were feeling good, and so because they were used to it. And we just didn't feel like we didn't have any negative effect on us because we were tempoing on offense and then they were turning around and playing defense and that sort of thing. Now, also, we do some of the things that we do a little differently is like our quarterback doesn't play both ways. Our quarterback only plays, quarterback. We have a couple guys that only play on offense. We have a couple guys that only play defense. We run an odd front, a 3-3 stack on defense, and that helps our O-line a lot, and our D-line, because we're able to run through and sub guys out. And so instead of having 4 down linemen, we got 3. It's just so some of the things that we've just done to kind of help in that, but we haven't seen much of a negative impact with the tempo. We do, we run all sorts of tempo though. We'll run our NASCAR tempo, we'll run a molasses tempo, where, instead of snapping the ball with, 7 seconds on the play clock, we'll snap the ball with 7 seconds left on the play clock. So we just change things up as we go.
Yeah, so Coach, on that as well, like with the same boat, like we don't have that many players because obviously it's amateur bowl / semi-pro here in Australia. But it's the same deal. Like it's a big Coach Browell's thing there, where he just goes like, "Do you believe in it?" And you're going to go through periods where sometimes it is going to be a little bit rocky in parts, but if you believe in it, you got to stay the course with it, because you're going to, it's also, we just got one speed. Like we're all gas, no brakes all day, no matter what. Less things we got to teach them as well. So we just go, but in practice, we can get so many more reps. So even like going 2 practice a week kind of thing, we can get about 600 reps, and the team we're going up against is maybe getting 60 reps of practicing defending our stuff. So we are better at doing what we do than you are at defending it. It's just a reps thing, and to get that more engagement from players as well. Like here, it's pay to play, so we just tell them, like, defense guys, well, you get more bang for your buck. Just tell them, like, hey, you get to play more football. It's great. It's just about the messaging of it there. So I see it there, and that's also like, it's a Coach Browell's thing a bit there too.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, and that's one of the things that we, one of the messages that we sent early on to our kids about being Temple. You're just, you're gonna have to live with it, and we're gonna have to, we move so fast though in practice that our kids don't feel, when we get into a game, the games are easier than the practices. I heard that a number of times this year with kids, that they just felt like our pace was better in practice, and it helped them in the game. Now we're still a work in progress. We're not, it wasn't completely flawless. We had a lot of speed bumps this year, but we really feel like the direction of what we're doing is the right direction for us. So, any other questions? All right. Well, listen, this will be uploaded sometime tonight or first thing tomorrow morning onto the YouTube channel. Appreciate all of you for coming on and participating tonight. Great questions. Appreciate y'all again entertaining me by showing up and listening to me talk incessantly. But again, like I said, be on the lookout at Coach Bronk on Twitter. I'll be sending out stuff about our every month that we're doing this, and who the speaker is going to be and all that type of stuff. If you'd like to speak on one of these one night and be the coach on the hot seat, shoot me a message, and we'll get it set up. So, all right. So if you guys don't have anything else, appreciate y'all. Y'all have a happy new year, and we'll see you in a month. Take care.
Thanks, Coach.
Happy holidays, Coach.
I'll be sticking around. So if you guys have any other questions, I'll be in here for a little bit.
And I forgot about this.
Cheers, guys. Appreciate you.
Yeah. Hey, Heath, good job, man. Appreciate your input.
Yeah, anytime.
How's football in Australia?
Pretty fun. It's pretty good at the moment.
Is
like
it?
it's peak summer here now, so I'm going to the beach with some mates in a second. So middle of the day here, so
That's awesome.
that's pretty good. I was in Texas in July. I was over there. I went to coaching school and stuff there. It's just like it's exactly like here, except we've got better beaches.
Yes, I would agree. Texas beaches suck. So I go to Florida to go to the beach.
Yeah, you got Florida. You can go to Mexico and stuff there. So
Yeah.
You guys got Whataburger, which changed my life. So
Yes, Whataburger is a life-changing event.
it's pretty good. It's pretty good. We haven't got that here, so.
Yeah.
Same with Chick-fil-A and that. It was heartbreaking at home and missing out.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for coming on.
Anytime.
Yeah.
Hey, Coach, I had a quick question.
Yeah, man.
So I'm trying to get more into why shallow. I see Lincoln runs it quite a bit.
Yeah.
I guess my question is more about the rules about it. So if he catches the ball behind the line of scrimmage, are they able to like crack back the guy that's in man coverage on the why shallow?
Not anymore. I mean, at least in Texas, we're not.
Oh, okay.
You can't come from the outside back in to crack.
Okay, so then I'm pretty sure then you have to just treat it like a rub, right?
Yeah.
Kind of like a rub concept.
Yep.
Except you probably can get away with it more since you're catching the ball
Yeah.
behind the line of scrimmage.
Yep. No doubt. We like to run shallow a lot with our play action. And so we old school shallow talk, where, we teach our receiver, our slot receiver, or even our H to run the heel line of the defensive line
Yeah,
on their shallow, and then we run a dig back over top of it.
On top on the shallow side.
No, opposite of it. So
okay.
Yeah, so where the shallow's going, that opposite side receiver is going to run a dig.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I think Lincoln does it the same way. He has like an over from the opposite side, but by the time he catches a ball, he's already kind of blocking. He's not really running a dig.
Yeah.
Yeah, coach, if you want them that like shallow screen, so that they're design blocking on that one, and what they do with either the back or the tight end, depending on what personnel set links after that week, where they're basically exiting out to find the guy over the back. They're pushing through. If you have someone like someone I know, like the offensive coordinator at Salina, Coach Travis McLean, they did it a lot last year, and they were really good at it. I'll be trying to pick his brains about like how they did it, because they got a lot of mileage out of it. Like he'd be an awesome one to talk to on if you want that concept, because they made it work at high school there real well.
Oh yeah, they do.
And coach, the other question is, did you ever think about, like, I'm all for RPOs, but sometimes it's like, should you revert to like the basics, like play action, right? So like you were talking about, you got 5 touchdowns called back, but I felt like the reason why counter H is so productive with the Y cross is because of the influence pool, if I'm wrong, right?
Yeah.
So have you ever, now I don't like pulling both GH, I guess you would assume, but maybe if you just pull G, you're gonna get the same influence. But I've seen Lincoln Riley do like everybody else is sliding, and then the G will pull, and he'll be get that last guy on the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
Right. And do you think you would get that same, I guess, pull from the linebackers?
Most likely, yeah. I mean, most of the time, if your linebackers are taught to read the puller, if he's going to see a puller, you're going to get a pull. You're going to get them triggering. And so
do you have any?
I would assume that.
Yeah. Do you have any guard protections, like the pulling of the guard protections on your offense?
Yeah, we do. I mean, like we'll run play action off of power.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah, we'll run play action off power. So that when we run play action with power, that's what we're doing is we replace the H back with the guard. So instead of the H, like when we run power, we're running to the H takes the end, guard pulls up and takes Mike. So what we do is, because we're getting that H into the route, our guard pulls and will actually he protects. He's going to end up taking the outside the tackle.
Yeah, that's exactly how Lincoln Riley does it.
Yeah,
that's
what we do on our play action. Yes.
Okay.
Coach, what's your favorite play action pass off of power? I mean, I'm sure you might have a couple. What's your favorite?
Y cross.
Okay. With the H from that wing position?
No, we run it with the slot receiver. The H is going to run, like if we're in a 3x1 set, for example, we'll run the H on a shallow. So basically what we do, can you see me?
Yeah, I can see you, Coach.
So I'm going to use my hands, which is going to be really crude. So if we're in a 3x1, so we've got our outside receiver, we got our slot, and we got our H. We're going to run him on a shallow the same direction that the Y cross is going. So what we do with that, now we got the puller coming. He's going to replace the H. Okay, so we got a pull and we got a shallow. So those linebackers are going to squeeze down because they see the puller, and then they also see the shallow coming, which opens up a gigantic window for the Y cross.
Correct. Gotcha. And then I guess progression wise, if you were to get, some type of inside blitz, like immediate A gap pressure right now, we're going to the H, this running the shallow.
No, actually, if we get a blitz, we teach our Y cross. He's got 3 different windows to sit in, for example. So if he's running that USOM route under Sam over Mike, okay, that Y cross, if he identifies he's looking at inside linebackers, if Mike, for example, triggers and blitzes, he's getting over the top and sitting. We're going to throw to him now. Okay. If Mike stays and Will blitzes, he's gonna get over the top and just sit down. And so he will sit down in the middle area if he sees blitz, because we feel like if that shallow's there's going to be too much clutter with that shallow with the H back to where where we can get that shallow thrown to him on a hot read.
Gotcha. So the H isn't really even a viable option necessarily.
Not necessarily, not in blitz. If they're running standard and they don't bring heat, he's a viable option once he gets outside the tackle, away, on the opposite side. Now I'll say this: if we run power, which is kind of weird, but if we run power to the two, away from the two receiver side, so if we go we run power to the boundary, for example, okay, so the H is set to the single receiver side, for example, and we run power to that, we'll actually run the H back on a quick out with the Y cross coming from the opposite side. And so if we get a blitz there, we're now able to throw that quick out a little faster there. That makes sense?
Yeah, it does, Coach. Appreciate it. So my name's Abner Smith, man. I go by AB. I just moved to Central Florida. You guys were talking about beaches. I'm the offensive coordinator down here at Apopka High School.
Oh yeah, I know where Apopka is.
Yeah, man. So I just moved here this year from Innsworth High School in Nashville, a big private school.
Awesome.
The issue that I had this year, man, is everybody down, at least in our league, man, we're playing, at the highest level, highest classification. Yep. Just lost in the state championship 10 days ago. But the issue for the first time in my career that I had was the fact that 93% of my snaps I was facing cover one or cover zero. And so when it came to some of this play action stuff, we could draw it up the same way you just drew it up, like 3-by-1 wing, and I'm running, power at my H. And I'm I have the potential threat of getting two off the edge backside. You know what I mean?
Yep. And
so it really changed. And I think it made me better, but it really changed the dynamics, man, when everybody's walking down, and you're facing these loaded boxes and, it's almost like playing a video game in terms of everybody's just man to man. And a lot of times offensively, anything about Apopka, they've been single wing for many years. And coming down with some of the spread elements, we're not only installing a new offense, but we're asking people to do something that they haven't done before.
Right.
Exactly. None of my receivers have ever been receivers before. And so anyway, I don't mean to ramble, but I guess I'm just kind of putting it out there. I could definitely use some pointers, and
sure,
just if you guys ever had to face some of those looks where that same formation, that same concept that we're talking about, you just got that threat of having more people coming off that backside.
Yeah. When we have faced a lot of man before. And so one of the things we ended up with our RPOs is that we ended up going to C-gap RPOs. So basically zone read RPOs, and running and just running various different looks off that, and getting our quarterback out on the edge, because again, if they're going to run man, they're locked up. So if you're basically running a key two screen, well, his man is going to be triggered to the key two because he's a man. If the outside receiver is blocking, his man is going to be triggered to that, which means now your quarterback has, so who's manning on the quarterback? And so those are some of the ways that we, what Coach Dearman would call mansers, You know, on that stuff. We'd go to a lot of C gap stuff. We run a lot of rub routes. And so we run a lot of, you know, delayed slant wheel looks with, you know, kind of rubbing guys off that way. We run double slants. You know, we'll run double slants and run a wheel with number 3 or with the H-back. So we get into, you know, if we get to the boundary, into the boundary, we'll go 3x1 with the H-back. The 2 receivers will run a double slants, and basically they're useless slants, but they're rubbing, and the H will just he's just gonna arc release wheel and force his guy to have to get over the top all of that trash. And so those are ways that we have beat and fought through man-to-man stuff.
Okay, yeah, right on. I appreciate it, man. Yeah, it's funny. I think the greatest success that we had was off even in the state championship game until my tight end went down. We didn't have him all year, and then he came back in the playoffs and he got banged up. It's funny, he got banged up running wide cross in the state championship game in the first half. He should have like, talking about those windows, you know, like so he's already under Sam. He went over Mike, and it was too high. And instead of him going more vertical to split him, he just went straight to the next safety. And so quarterback threw it behind him a little bit, and he took a big shot. And unfortunately, we didn't get him back. But up until that point, we were able to, you know, out of that split flow zone, and leaking him out of the backfield with that C-gap read, we were able to hit that a few times in the first half for big gains. And yeah, I appreciate you sharing, man.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely, man. This is what this is all about for me. You know, I'm a big believer in paying it forward, and if you know by holding these things and just coaches talking and stuff, you know, I was really kind of hoping that I wasn't going to be the one, you know, talking the whole time, but I prepared just in case. You know, as we get through this stuff, you know, having these kind of roundtable discussions and talking and stuff like that. So, you know, that's kind of what this is all about. And so
I've always had a great deal of respect, man, for Texas football, to be honest with you. And so
I appreciate that.
Yeah, man. Anytime I hear a coach down in Texas want to talk ball, I'm like, man, let me hop on here and try to learn something, because I just feel like that's the Mecca. You know what I mean? So you guys, y'all got some great things going on down there.
We're pretty blessed down here to be able to do the things that we get to do and that sort of thing, athletic periods. And, you know, that's a big thing for us is, you know, having, you know, our schools having athletic periods where, you know, we lift weights and, you know, during the off season, all that. There's a lot of things that we're privileged to have. And so we're pretty blessed. So. All right, guys, we're going on 2 hours, so I'm gonna go ahead and close this thing up. Pete, did you have one thing?
Yeah, so Coach Smith, talking about your thing, we're talking a lot about man-to-man coverage. Are they playing off man, or are they playing a bit tighter for you guys?
I mean, so again, I'm down here in Central Florida, man, and the athletes are freaking ridiculous. Yeah. So they're walking up in your face. Now, you know, the one thing I'll say is, the technique, you know, I'm coming from a place like, so back home in Tennessee, scheme wise and technique and things like that, you know, it's probably a little bit more advanced, but down here, the athletes, I mean, it's just unbelievable.
Well, I always say like talent equates, because I do some work for a couple of teams in Texas as well. Like they've got some, you know, dudes you're going against the same kind of caliber. Unless there are some like teams where, like especially in Texas, you got like, you know, the Denton Guyers and stuff of the world where just have better dudes. But for the most part, talent's going to equate. So again, I'm playing ball here in Australia, but I'm going against the same level of players there. So I can do things what like Coach Prowse is doing at Baylor and stuff, for example. Like you can look at what Riley has been doing and still is doing, and it's going to equate down to your level. But if they're going man-to-man coverage, you're basically just seeing cats coverage. Yeah. So basically, it's just, you know, and this is where tempo is awesome. You just go like, how do I get my best guy and your worst guy? Because I always go like, especially with tempo, I can adjust my guys and move them faster around than they can as a defense. I can move my guys faster than you can. But it's the question becomes like, if you've seen that kind of coverage, the biggest thing is like, why do you want to RPO burst out? Like, where's the conflict player there? Sometimes, like if you're doing a zone insert, you can sneak that tight end and pop past him. If you sort of catch that, you want to really be like whoever your box guy is, or if it's to your sideline, really key on his eyes.
Yeah.
that'll really tell you. And like his toes will also be an indicator for you as well, to where he's sort of keying down. If he's coming aggressive, you'll be able to pipe that tight end up. We call that just pop. You'll be able to get that there. But in terms of like rub routes, your friend there, but even like you just got to break him out of man coverage. So sometimes they're playing off, you can basically get like 3 to 4 yards of pop by some of those fast screen stuff. And it's basically let dog go hunt. Let your athlete be in space. But like we do stuff to try to isolate. So we have really wide receiver splits, for example. So like we are forcing you onto islands, and basically we just go play. There's other bits like Lincoln Riley, the old air raid, like 66. It's the slot fade. And especially if they're up there, just high low the corner, and it's an easier throw for the quarterback as well. Because you can throw, what they call that fade ball, but they're not so far away. So it's a much easier throw. If your splits are in more receiver wise, just as soon as the quarterback's got the ball, just look off the safety, just eyes just for a half a count, turn ball up. And it's just pat and go now. Even similar kind of distances, it's not that well. But the biggest thing is it's coaching the mentality of your receivers there and quarterbacks there. So like Coach Brow's biggest thing, man coverage is disrespect. And as a receiver, you need to take that personally. And like they've got to have that in them. So anytime man coverage, you just call it out. We're playing routes on air now, boys. Man coverage, it's routes on air. And so I tell my guys, they're going man coverage. Cool, it's a race in the end zone. See that? Like they speak it into existence for them.
Yeah, no, that's good stuff, man. I appreciate you guys, man. Yeah, this was good.
Yep. All right, guys. Have a great New Year's, and we will talk to you soon. All right.
All right, man. Take care.
Take care, guys.
Bye.